People who got fired on the first day of the job, what happened?
Pizza place. I asked what my pay would be and whether the training was paid. This was highly offensive to the comically Italian man who owned the pizza place, and he said that there was no need for me to come back. The pizza was awesome though, so I still got pizza there.
Hired by a Michelin-star restaurant for my first ever job, they expected to take me on and train me up on the job and pay less for me than already trained staff. But when a member of staff didn't turn up, I had to attempt silver service with no knowledge. Obviously, I failed, so I ended up polishing cutlery with the owner of the restaurant. We got talking. He said he saw potential in me to do better things in my life and just said that I should never follow his footsteps and put my passion for food ahead of my other passions, interests, as it will ruin my luck. Later, he talked to the manager at the time, told me I could use them as a reference for future jobs, and I was given a week's rather than a day's pay.
Hired by a chain store. First day of work, still in the back office filling out paperwork. Dealing with it, manager says to me, I sent in the automated personality test and corporate says I can't hire you. I'm sorry. They did pay me for 1-2 a day though.
I just got hired at Sonic Drive-In. They had secret customers come in fairly regularly who order and eat the food, then judge the employees and restaurant on how well they handled company policies and stuff. Well, the current employees have been getting horrible grades lately. Like the highest in the last 2 months was 68,100. The owner walks in and says the next person who gets below a 90 is fired. So on my very first day, they put me on drive-thru, which was a nightmare. And sure enough, I find out later that a secret customer rolled up. Owner comes back in at the end of my shift 8 hours later. Who was working driving through today? You got an 88, you're fired, and then left. So that's how I got fired for being the best employee there on my first day.
Got hired for a warehouse position, probably 15 years ago. Was 10 minutes late my first day because I lived 45 minutes away and the main highway got shut down due to a multi-car wreck. Called the boss and told him, he said no worries. Got to the job and was fired for being late.
One of my nannies, when I was a little girl, was fired the first day of work. She asked my mother if she could go to her house for crayons, and since she lived a few blocks away of our house, Mum said, "Okay." 1 hour passed and she did not came back, so Mom went to the house of the nanny and saw her drinking tea with her mother. She did not even bother to apologize. Mom told her to never come back, but the nanny did not understand what she did wrong, so she came back next day and sat in front of our door. Mom told her to leave and she never came back.
Was the second or third day, but first day working with the boss. At the end of the day, the shared till comes up short a little over $5. I know the exact transaction too. He was slow on the register, so I left it beside the till. It went into his pocket. He tells me I have to make up the difference out of pocket. I politely refuse and inform him that's not permitted by the Employment Standards Act. He blows a gasket and I leave with him yelling at me. He was fined $250. The sad thing is the woman who'd worked for him for 5 years had been starting her shift by putting money in the till to cover any errors. She'd probably put in more than $1,300 while working for this jerk.